fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the Hover E-Web cannon from the Star Wars Mission Fleet line from Hasbro. So this comes with the earlier version of the Mandalorian before he gets his full Beskar armor. And I'll be honest, I wasn't going to pick this one up. This came out a while ago and I initially just passed on it. Doesn't really seem that exciting. I don't even know why they bothered to release this. I mean, you can tell that this is probably just some hollow piece of plastic with a gun on top, and then they just throw in another version of the Mandalorian. I love this line, but their unwillingness to release anything that's not directly tied to the Mandalorian is kind of starting to drive me nuts. But the whole reason I have this is I found it at Ollie's for $4.99. So that's the only reason I have this. I said, you know what, for $5, fine, I'll give it a shot. I kind of like the weapon. I'm sure there's not going to be much to it. And I know he does use it for 5 seconds in the second episode to take out all the pirates when it's him and IG-11, fighting them off. But I've also seen, I think it's in the Obi-Wan series, that a lot of Stormtroopers were using this. So that's what I'm going to probably use it for. I'm going to repurpose it, give it to some Stormtroopers. And if I like it, maybe I'll grab a couple more at Ollie's because they're super cheap. So if you are looking for Mission Fleet stuff and you have an Ollie's near you, there is a ton of Mission Fleet stuff at Ollie's. Really, really cheap. So definitely check that out. I kind of wish this was a little bit cheaper because they have been also selling the $20 size class for $5, and so I thought this maybe should be more like $3, $4, but I still think $5 is pretty fair for this. Some nice artwork of Mando using it here on the front because we of course have the plastic free packaging. It says the Mandalorian over here on the side because they always list the show or movie that it is from. Not really much else going on, just kind of shows you a little bit how it works on this side. Then you get the 1-to-1 actual size breakdown of everything that's in the box. So we got that going on. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the packaging and we'll take a closer look. Here it is out of the packaging, and it's just as basic as I thought it would be. I'll put Mando off to the side here. So for this thing, it's not hollow underneath, so I will give it that. It's got a little bit of molded detail. And I do like how they put these 3 kind of translucent white pieces there, so that it would kind of give it the illusion that it's floating when it sits on that. It doesn't roll or anything. But it's really just a stand with a cannon on it. The cannon can spin side to side. It can go up and down slightly. This little button here fires the missile, and it fires pretty well. It's a very basic little cannon vehicle, I guess. I guess it does, hover and move around. But there's just really nothing to it. There's just really not much going on. It's definitely, in my opinion, the weakest release from Mission Fleet. When you think about the other things in this size class, like the Walker that came with Rex, or some of the animals or other things, they come with a lot more accessories. And I don't know, this one's just a little boring. Now for $5, I think it's worth $5, so I'm glad I waited on it. And I don't mind. I wouldn't mind having a couple of these just because, like I said, to kind of pair them with Stormtroopers. If you had a battalion and then had this kind of in the center with maybe forming the battalion around it or something like that, I think that could work. But if I paid the full $13 to $15 for this, I'd be bummed because there's really nothing going on with this. In terms of the Mando figure, we've seen this one before. It came in that Blurg pack with Null, I want to say. The little, I can't remember his name, but the little Ugnaught dude, I have spoken, that guy. So it's not a new figure, but again, I have so many Mandalorian figures at this point, and I would say 90% of them are him in the full Beskar armor. So I do like having another version of him without the armor, especially if I want to kind of kit bash some stuff. These are kind of a little bit more basic pieces. I almost feel like I could use maybe these pieces to kind of maybe kit bash a Sabine or something like that. I'll have to see what I could do, but I appreciate it not just being the full Beskar, so getting a little bit different from the version of Mando I have 500 times. So you can, of course, take the cape off if you like, although it does make his neck look ridiculously long. You have the ball joint here at the head, so you can tilt side to side, look side to side, up and down. You have the hinge here in the shoulder, which is a little restricted because of the armor, but you can kind of push it down and get the full range of motion out of it. That has a swivel as well. You have a wrist swivel, and then you can kick the feet forward. They can kick back a little bit, but not very much. So it's a decent Mando figure. It's just probably one that you already have, so nothing super exciting there. We put the cape back on. come along. There we go. Comes with 2 weapons. You have the blaster here, and then you have his long rifle. So we've seen these accessories before. There's really nothing going on. Now this does have the 2 pegs here on the back, and they have the peg holes on the bottom of the feet, so you can go ahead and pop that on, and he rides very well. So I feel like that works. But yeah, it's just kind of a boring release, unfortunately. There's just not much going on with this. I really don't think this needed to be made. Now, if they had sold this with a Stormtrooper, then I would say this would be a great troop building pack, especially at the $5 price point. But again, they just had to put another set with Mandalorian just because they're unwilling to release anything that's not tied to that. I understand that that's probably the most popular show, so that's why they're only doing merch for that. But it's like pulling teeth getting them to put stuff out for Ahsoka as well, and that show I assume is doing very well. So I don't get it. I just don't get it sometimes. But yeah, it's a very basic release. Not really much going on here. I absolutely would not pay full price for this. But if you can pick it up at Ollie's for $5, it could be fun. Especially if you're like troop building an army of stormtroopers. I think it would be fun to have 1 or 2 of these to kind of like set up a display with like a whole army of stormtroopers with a couple of these filtered throughout, just to kind of build it up and make it look more impressive. But it's a very basic release. It doesn't roll, it doesn't do anything, it just sits there, and the turret moves ever so slightly. So it is what it is. Like I said, definitely would not pay full price for it. Even the $5 at Ollie's, I mean, at that point you're basically paying for the figure. I just wish it was a figure I wanted. Like I said, if this had come with a Stormtrooper for $5, I'd be in 100%, because then I could just army build it completely. I don't need an army of Mando, but maybe some Kit Bash potential there with his Mandalorian armor to maybe mix with some other pieces and make some fun Mandalorians. So we'll see. But in any case, if you can get it for $5 at Ollie's, I say go for it. Otherwise, definitely wouldn't pay full price. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.